Hey guys, it's Bait bringing you a long anticipated video, the Morning Lobby Stats Midterm Edition for the first half of 2025. Let's break it down. So there's 182 games played from January to June of 2025, and here are the overall win rates for the lobby compared to 2024. So Crew win about half the time still at 49.5%. I think that's a sign of a very healthy lobby, and it's well balanced. Crew should win about half the time. So kudos to Dumb Dog for picking settings and a lobby composition that allows that. Imposters are still winning about 21.4% of the time, pretty identical to last year. Neutrals win 28% of the time, pretty much the same. And lovers are still really hard to win with, 1.1% of the time, or only 2 lovers wins this year, pretty consistent to last year as well. So let's have a look at the different crew roles. You can see the crew that win the most, Imitator. That makes sense because you can actually imitate other really strong roles such as engineer or sheriff to basically clutch the game. So, and it makes you much less likely to be guessed in a meeting. Engineer is very strong because they have the fix ability. Because if it's like a final 5 and you manage to fix a sabotage and get to a meeting, like sure, you might be assassinated, but if you didn't actually fix the sabotage, you would definitely lose. Whereas if you fix the sabotage, it at least gives crew a chance to win. That extra life is very important. Warden, I'm not sure. Would love to hear people's thoughts. Sheriff, being able to kill a bad guy is very strong. Transporter, if you ever watch Dumb Dog play, you'll know that transporting certain people at the right time is sometimes can catch people red-handed. It's actually a fun role to play. Investigator, even with the nerf, is still very strong, seeing people's footsteps. Deputy is pretty strong, being able to guess if a few conditions meet up. And then you see the ones that are below average. So Snitch, 48.1%. You'd think that this would be a stronger role, but I think a lot of people prioritize too much doing that task at the detriment to, fixing sabotages and stuff like that, and actually gathering information. So that might be why Snitch is a little bit lower win percentage.
And I'll risk my life for tasks, because that's what this is about to me now. Don't care about fixing lights.
Tracker, I think a lot of people misinterpret the track arrows. Swapper, because people swap for memes. Vigilante, because people just guess. The lobby has a pretty poor vigilante guessing percentage, which we'll see in later. Politician, I think because people focus on campaigning and don't really interpret the campaign and the significance correctly. And Medic, this is the most interesting one. If anyone was gonna guess what's the weakest crew role, I think very few people would guess Medic. But I think the reason it's so lowly rated is because even though you can save someone, it doesn't actually sort of get rid of the killer's kill cooldown. They often can kill someone else. And often the medics give away that they're the medic when they say they shield someone. So a lot of good imposter players, such as these ones actually, Ifa, Dumb Dog, Platty, and Kara, would just leave the medic alive to final 5 and get a free shot. It's probably one of the most black and white shots out of all of these crew roles. Probably explains why medic actually has the lowest win percentage of any crew role. Imposters, Janitor is the best imposter role to get. I think we all know how strong the Janitor duo is. I still stand by the fact that at least my opinion, that the Janitor shouldn't use their ability in the first round. Save it to the end because people won't be counterplaying the Janitor and checking vitals, etc. Whereas if you do it round 1, you alert the whole lobby there's a Janitor, and I think that weakens the role. And Miner is strong. Interesting. Swooper is good to escape. I think you can frame a lot of people with the Swooper ability. That's why it's much stronger than an average imposter. Venerar is pretty much average because I think very few people actually use the Venerar ability. Escapist, I think, is one of the strongest imp roles. Just a lot of people aren't that familiar with how the escape ability is to be used, which is probably why it's a little bit weaker at the moment. And Grenadier, Blackmailer, I think they're very weak, they're strong roles, but people lose with them because often it's very obvious who the Grenadier or Blackmailer is if a few other people in the vicinity are cleared, and they can be very easily guessed. Similar thing to Morphling, I suppose. I think people try morphing a little bit too much and gives themselves away. And often if you morph as someone else, you can hard clear the person you're trying to frame. So it often can backfire. As well as Undertaker, well, people, drag bodies for the memes. Maybe that's why the Undertaker role's so weak. Neutral. So they win 28% of the time. These numbers obviously don't all add up to 28% because not all the time is there every single, neutral role available. But Jester is still the easiest neutral role to win with, winning about 21.9% of the time. Arsonist is actually stronger than Pesty this year, interestingly enough. Then you have Executioner. Actually, that's a pretty high win rate, 15.7%. Then you have Pesties, Juggernauts, the Glitch, and the hardest Imp role to win with is the Phantom. I wonder if you guys can guess who is the lone Phantom winner in 2025. Oh, why are the graphs so much prettier this year? It's because we have an awesome team. And special thanks at the end of the video to all of these people. So, in terms of attendance, as mentioned, there were 182 games, and 3 people have perfect attendance, or 4th if you include IFA. I missed 1 game because of a DC or something like that. And then you can see the other attendance of people who play in the lobby every week. Bacon. Man, this guy is super keen on playing Among Us. And we had to have a cutoff for the leaderboard somewhere, and I think people decided at 80 games. So Gumi and all of these people above Gumi are included in the leaderboards in the slides that are to come. Well, but it's good to see a wide range of other players who are still playing Among Us in 2025, including Sakuno with the 2 games he had last month. So, reports and buttons. Who is the biggest button barrier there is? Who's the one most likely to report? Well, it's Dumdog for both of them. I think if you ever watch a game, you'll probably agree, and that's pretty, consistent to the eye test. So Dumdog has buttoned 20 times in games this year. So 182 games played. Well, so that's like more than 10% of the time he buttons. And it'll be much higher of games that he's alive as well. And he's reported 74 bodies. This guy is a dead body magnet. He just moves around. Other people that tend to report a lot of bodies, Kara is very good. 5 up, Ovally. Again, this represents the percentage. So Dumdog reports a body in about 40% of games he plays. So he's reported 74 bodies. Whereas people that don't report bodies that much include Janet. And she doesn't button much. And Bacon, doesn't report bodies and is pretty allergic to the button. Similar thing to Koji as well. Oh, who dies the most in round 1? So this graph, by the end of round 1, Dumdog is the most likely to die. And how much of that is because people kill him? It's actually the most out of everyone in lobby. Dumdog gets killed 13.7% of the time in round 1. But on top of that, in the first meeting, he gets voted out a fair amount of time, and he gets guessed out a lot, often because of just random Vigi guesses, I think, as you'll see. But that's amazing. 20% of the time, Dumdog doesn't survive into the second round, whereas you have other players who are really good at surviving into the second round. 5 up, Ovally, and Gumi. Wow, these guys have a lot of first round plot armor. In terms of people who are most likely to be voted out round 1, it says it's Junk. Yeah, 2.78%. So people love voting out Junk round 1. And Steve. Yeah, so Steve doesn't actually get killed much at all. No one really targets him round 1, interestingly enough. But I think he brings out his own demise by being voted out or guessed out in round 1 a lot. And a lot of this yellow is him voting himself out as well. That's also interesting. Yeah, so the larrikins or the funny boys, they are least likely to survive round 1. Bacon, Ifa, Steve, Junk, Koji. I think that's pretty consistent with the eye test, whereas you have the other more conservative players and the girls more likely to survive. Interesting. Who dies the most throughout the game? Oh, by game's end. Junk. Poor Junk. So by the final meeting, Junk is dead 74.3% of the time. Poor guy. Worst plot armor. Doesn't survive till the ending. That sucks for Junk. And a lot of that is because he's get targeted. Koji, interestingly enough, he gets killed 57% of the time before the end meeting. Oof, that's pretty tough. He actually doesn't get voted out as much as people think he does. That's interesting. Doesn't get guessed out much at all. And Dumdog, here's the interesting part. So he only gets killed 36.8% of the time by the final round. And we already remembered, like, half of that is from the first round. So if he survives the first round, Dumdog is like, yeah, pretty invulnerable. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. But he also gets guessed out, or that includes he guesses himself out a lot. But it's just interesting how if Dumdog doesn't get killed round one, he rarely gets killed. What other takeaways do we have from here? No, pretty much similar. Gumi, very solid. No one tries to kill Gumi. Maybe that's why she, spoiler alert, wins a lot, because no one targets her. Yeah. And who gets voted out? Oh, yes, there's a meme that Ifa gets voted out a lot. Yeah, quite clearly. 17.1%. The lobby is most likely to vote out Ifa more than anyone else.
You know what? Is there an Among Us Academy rank for tasks done? Because I think maybe that's something I could really work towards. In no world, by the end of this Among Us Academy next list, will I not be the best at tasks. Because Janet, she barely even plays in this lobby anymore, I think. She misses a lot more than I do, that's for sure. I should be able to do this. I should be able to take the mantle. And I'll risk my life for tasks, because that's what this is about to me now. Don't care about this. Don't care about fixing lights.
Who has done the most stars per game as crewmate in 2025? Forget every other stat. We know this is the most important one to determine the number one Among Us player. And let's see who it is. Drum roll, please. Hey, look, it's your boy Steve, averaging 7.25 tasks completed as crew per game. That is very good. I'll be honest, up until I think May, Janet was actually ahead of Steve. So Steve's made a really late comeback to just edge in front of Janet. So that is very impressive. And Frost also loves to do his tasks. So does Scarge. He actually does a lot of tasks. But then you have the people who don't do the tasks. Junk, no surprise. Overly, come on Overly, you're not streaming. You can do some more tasks. And then you have Dumdog, who I think focuses on, solving the game a little bit more than doing his actual tasks. And Koji very rarely does his tasks. And I find Koji, when he's dead, rarely does his tasks as well. And I think that brings the average down a little bit more. But yeah, congrats, Steve. All your hard work has definitely paid off. Task completion rate graph. What's this? Oh, this is total tasks done. So Scarge has done more absolute number of tasks, but that's because Scarge has played in every single game, whereas Steve's taken a few games off. But if you want to know, Scarge, 773 tasks. I guess this is the number of hits people have had, and the previous slide is more like the batting average, if you want to think of it that in baseball terms. So Steve is doing very well as well. Oh, here's the graph that has them both labeled. So obviously 7.25 average tasks per game for a total 739 tasks for Steve. Stitch tasks per graph. Here we can see Ifa actually does the most tasks on average as a snitch. So even though Ifa doesn't really care when he's crew, he actually turns on the jets when he's the snitch. Pretty interesting. Steve tries really hard as well. So does Bacon, Scarge, and yeah, Dumdog. So you remember the last slide? Dumdog rarely does tasks, and Ifa doesn't do that many either, at 4.81 and 3.69 tasks. When they get their snitch rolls, they obviously try a lot harder. I think that's pretty interesting. This is the total number of tasks done as the snitch, and Steve leads this graph by a mile. And here is the graph. So voting wrong as crew, bad crew. So I clarified how these stats actually work. This is if you are live on a meeting where either the jester or a fellow crewmate gets voted out, you, I guess, are labeled as bad crew, even if that you weren't the one who casted a vote on them. But you are live as a crewmate, you should have had your duty to, I guess, talk people into not voting wrongly. So you have Overly as the one who's voted wrong or been at the most wrong meetings, and you have Dumdog, who is the least likely to participate in an incorrect vote. Then you have Kara. This is interesting because I always thought Kara is very persuasive and she rarely votes wrong, but I guess clearly not. The lobby often votes not in Kara's favor when she's crew. And then you have Scarge. Steve has very often is involved in these wrong votes. Koji, 5 up. When has he ever been right?
5 up. When have you been right?
This guy, I
Need to insert that Steve clip here. He's been right an average amount of times, let's say. And then you got Janet, Amphros, Gumi, Ifa, Bacon, and Junk doing surprisingly well. They're involved in very few wrong votes, as is Ifa. And Dumb Dog's the goated crew, so it seems. Yeah, sheriff kills per attempt. Who's the best sheriff? Well, it says it's Gumi. Oh, I guess Gumi, because Gumi has 4 correct sheriff kills and no incorrect kills. That's pretty amazing. Steve takes a lot of sheriff shots, so Steve also has 4 correct kills, but unfortunately with the collateral damage of 6 wrong kills. And Scarge, I think, has the most correct sheriff kills, but also has a lot of wrong kills as well. And Koji, unfortunately, hasn't had a single successful sheriff kill in 2025. Hope he turns that around. So here we have the deputy kills. Ifa is the most cracked, getting 4 successful deputy kills. That's pretty good. Junk is really good at this role as well. And a few other people have managed to have a successful deputy kill. I really like the role. You have to jump through a lot of hoops to get there. You have to mark the person. They have to be the one killed. And you have to guess the baddie who killed that specific person you marked. So I think it's a balanced role. And good job, Ifa and Junk, for taking advantage of it. Vigilante guesses per attempt. So you can have a look. Dumb Dog is the worst Vigilante. 6 wrong. Often in the first round. So yeah, Bacon is also struggling. Whereas who's doing really well? Koji is cracked at Vigilante, and Gumi, again, no wrong guesses. And everyone else doesn't really guess the Vigilante role that often. Interesting. So what's this? Most successful Vigilante guesses per game. So Gumi is very cracked. So every Vigilante game Gumi plays, she gets a correct guess. That's pretty solid. Janet, Koji are doing well. And you have, on the other hand, Steve. I guess every Vigilante game he's played, he's guessed wrong. And most games that Dumb Dog plays, he's had a wrong Vigi guess in them. Crewmate rankings. So who is the top crewmate? This is pretty important. Let's have a look. 13th place is Ovally. So I was going to say she's very professional, gets things done, but compared to a 2024 win rate, she's struggled as crew this year. Interesting. Any Ovally fans like to drop a comment why they think that is? And task per game and voted wrong per game. 12th is Junkyard. Win rate is a little bit lower as crew compared to last year at 44.2%. Bacon is doing well. 46%. That's pretty respectable, but slightly below average still. Scarge, 47.1%. A little bit better than last year. 9th is 5 up. Pretty mid. A little bit worse than last year. I thought he was having a much better year, to be honest. I'm surprised to see that. And slightly below average crew credentials. Koji, exactly 50-50. By the way, these photos I didn't pick. The contributors picked these photos. But win rate, 50%. Pretty good, slightly above average. Kara, again, like I said, I didn't pick these photos, I promise. Slightly above average, wins more than she loses, and significantly better than last year. I actually think Kara is an interesting one. Since Hafu left, she gives me a lot of Hafu vibes in the sense that she's very hard to vote out in meetings, and she is really good at taking control of meetings and getting, accurate points across. Compared to meetings where, like, for example, Steve or Bacon run them, Kara does it very well, and she can often, sway them in her favor a little bit as well. Ifa is doing really well, better than last year, which is good. Steve's crew games is pretty good this year. Yeah, 50.98%. Didn't expect him all this way up at 50.98%. Good looking man. Amphros is doing really well. Much better than last year. It's up 5% as well. Winning 51.3% of his games. Then you have Janet. Very solid crewmate. 3rd ranked win rate. Number 2 is Dumb Dog. So 56.57%. So this is pretty interesting. He's gone up 8.4% this year. I wonder what's changed. Maybe it's that host advantage he has. 7% higher than average. That is amazing. Look at Janet, just 2.3% above average. And then, gosh, second place Dumdog. He's cracked at this game. And that leaves number one. It would have to be Gumi. Wow. Gumi's winning 62.75% of her games. That is incredible. 13.3% above average. Nothing to compare with because she wasn't really playing last year. But yeah, Gumi is cracked at this game. And, you know, anyone that watches her can know why. So here are the crewmate archetypes, I suppose. I think they were saying, so on this side is the task slaves. If you're more likely to do tasks, you go here. If you're more likely to just stay alive, it's this way. So I think this is the sort of different vibes. So for example, Dumdog is more likely to stay alive and has a high win rate, whereas I guess someone like Scarge does more tasks, dies a lot, and doesn't win as much. I guess these are the quadrants that you have. And I guess for entertainment purposes, these are the two quadrants you want to be in. That's interesting how you see Janet and Steve's playstyles are very similar. So, Phantom win rates. Dumdog is the only person to win his Phantom so far in 2025. He's played 5 Phantom games and he's won 1. 20% Phantom win rate. Not bad. So, Jester win rates. Gumi, again, cracked as Jester. 2 Jester wins. And then you see everyone else who... Dumdog has 4 Jester wins this year. That's pretty impressive. Steve and Ifa are tied second with 3 Jester wins each. Then we have Executioner wins. Platty has actually once, if you guys remember that game. He's won 1, so I guess 100% XE win rate. But Antfrost is also very solid. The only person with 2 XE wins this year. Average neutral killer kills. So this is the average number of kills they have as a neutral killer. Very interesting. Gumi, Dumdog are very ruthless. Koji and Ifa are really ruthless. And that joke that Steve has that Antfrost doesn't really kill. I guess it's everything is founded in some element of truth, right? But it's also funny because Steve doesn't really kill as neutral either. But Scarge and Antfrost are definitely the pacifist neutral killers. Arsonist win rates. Gumi, Dumdog, very solid. Oh, Dumdog's the only one with multiple Arsonist wins this year. That's pretty good. Kara, Scarge, and Ifa are the only other ones who have won as Arsonist. Pesty win rates. Gumi, again, top in the charts, 5 up. And then Kara, Steve, and Peter. Then you have glitch win rates. Kara is doing really well with 2 glitch wins. Then S Major, Ovely, and 5 up with the only other glitch wins. Juggernaut win rates. DK. Oh, we miss DK. Don't we all miss DK? Gosh, I wish he could come back. Hope he's doing well in his studies. But he has 1 jug win, 50% jug win rate. But Janet, Ifa, Bacon, and Dumdog are the only other players with jug wins this year. So, neutral archetypes. Here's a little chart again. So, towards this side, we'll go the up and down first. So higher win rate is on this side, lower win rate is here. That's the win percentage. And this is the play style. So on the right side, these are people that are more likely or their wins are more skewed towards neutral killer wins. And this side is the people that are better at XE and Jester. So you can see Junk struggles winning as a neutral killer, but is really good at Jester, for example, and XE. Is more on this side. Whereas you have people who, I guess, are less XE Jester winny, such as 5 up, but better at neutral killers, they are more this way. And then you have the really cracked players, I guess the killer winner players, Gumi, Kara, and Dumdog are really good at solo killers. Whereas not many people are in this quadrant where they're really good at XE Jester wins and actually have consistently high neutral win percentages. Pretty interesting graph. So, successful evil guesses per game. Who's the most cracked at this? Oh gosh, it's Gumi again. Average 0.26 correct guesses per neutral killer roll, or like evil killer roll. That's pretty impressive. Janet is really good as well, but Janet actually guesses wrong sometimes. Then you have Kara, Ovely, Dumdog is pretty 50-50 with his guesses. And then you have on the other side, it's interesting to see Steve. to the surprise of no one. So many wrong guesses. 0.24 wrong guesses for every 0.07 correct guesses he has. And Scarge, anyone who watches him, or pays attention knows that if you even remotely suggest Scarge has been voted out, he would rather die on his own sword. And that's why he leads with the most number of average wrong guesses per game and doesn't have that many right guesses to show for it. Interesting. Evil guessing graph attempts, I guess, is a similar way of reflecting what we just had. So best evil guesser is Gumi with 100% correct guesses. This is the total number of guesses right and wrong, I suppose. So Dumb Dog, right, wrong, pretty 50-50. Janet. Kara is very solid. That's really good. And then 5UP is very good at guessing. So whenever he guesses, he's more likely than not to be correct, as is Kara, Janet, and of course Gumi. Oh, and Ovely as well. Interesting. Whereas the people that really aren't good at guessing, Steve, Scarge, and Anfrost, and Bacon. I guess that tracks. Imposter occurrence. Oh, who's most likely to get imposter? Hey, look, it's Dumb Dog with the host advantage too. Over 20% of the time, he gets imposter. Interesting. Especially when they're playing, 11, 12, 13 player lobbies now to get it over 20% of the time with that sample size. Host advantage is a thing. Person who's least likely to get imposter is 5UP. And Koji. And Steve. These are 2025 stats. It's really interesting because I think Koji was complaining he never got imposters back in 2023 and 2024. It's interesting how the RNG still hasn't favored him. But 5UP's, definitely lacking his imposter games this year. Average imposter kills graph. Here we go. The number of kills they have as imposter. I would probably focus more on this chart. So you can see Dumb Dog is the most kill happy, average 2.7 kills per game as imposter. And then you have Ifa at second at 2.5 kills per game. And then you have Kara and Ovely who are also very kill happy. And Junk is very happy to be a pacifist as well. Interesting how Anfrost actually kills a little bit more as imposter than I think when you watch his stream, he deliberately tries to be very passive as a neutral killer. But interesting observations nonetheless. So imposter rankings. Let's check this out. All right, who do you think is the best imposter in the lobby? Let's go. 13th. Damn, it's Steve. It's your boy Steve. Only 2 imposter wins, better than zero. 2 imposter wins this year, 8.33%, slightly better than it was last year, but much worse than average. Only getting 1.8 kills per game. Guessing wrong a lot of the time. 12th is Koji. Oh, gosh. You don't want me editing for your channel. No wonder there's so few videos this year. 2 imp wins. 13.3%, a little bit worse than last year as well. 11 is Scarge, better than last year actually. So at least he's improving. That's good. Ovely, gosh, Ovely's win percentage. Crew also dropped a lot, and then Imposter dropping half in 2025. Oof. Interesting. Definitely not being professional, not getting shit done this year. Hopefully she can turn it around. Bacon, most improved. Let's go. He's more than doubled his imp win percentage compared to 2025. Let's go, Bacon. You love to see it. Slightly below average, sure, but look at this. His previous year would have been about 7%, jumping up to 19.23%. What a turnaround. Good on you, Bacon. Love to see it. IFA, 20%, which is not bad. It's around league average, but much worse than last year. Pretty interesting. Would love to see why he thinks this is, or why chat thinks this is, because I think he's a really solid, imp player. Janet, pretty much the same as last year, 21.43%, literally, almost league average. 6 is Junkyard, slightly better than last year. That's pretty good. He's doing well as imposter. 6th in the lobby. That's really impressive. 5th is Anfrost, slightly better than last year with 7 imp wins, 21.88% imp win rate. Pretty good. 4th is Gumi, 31.2%. Pretty good. So 10% above average, not bad. Very solid player, very good addition to the lobby this year. Or re-addition. So, who do we think would top 3 are? Leave your guesses. Let's have a look who the third place is. It's 5 Up. All right, so his crew was slightly worse than last year, I see, but his imp win rate, he's definitely getting away with a lot more this year. It's up 7.3%, so, you know, maybe he's not so washed after all. 13.8% of the better than average. Pretty good. Kara, Kara has doubled her imp win rate up to 38.46%. Like I said, before, once Hafu has left, I feel like she's similar to Hafu in how hard she is to vote out when she's an imposter. She does definitely have some, you know, plot armor there, and she's very convincing. Probably more so as imposter than as crewmate. And hence why she's won 10 imposter games. That's very impressive. That leaves number 1. It will have to be Dumdog. Maybe a little bit host advantage, you know, up 7.4%. I remember a few recent videos where, you know, Junk couldn't sheriff him because Dumdog had that ping diff as the host. But nonetheless, you know, even if he has home ground advantage, he is winning a lot. 42.11% better than last year. Pretty much double the lobby average. Very impressive. Doesn't slack on the kills. Guess is wrong a fair bit, but is doing really well this year. So here are the imposter archetypes, I suppose. Average kills per game. This is interesting. And then the win percentage. So yeah, I like Dumdog's playstyle. He kills a lot, so kills per game, and he wins a lot. Whereas you have people who don't kill, like Junk, who don't win. And then you have Steve. So this is probably the boring quadrant to be in. And the Dominators, the Kill and Conquer, are the interesting ones to watch. But you also have the Marinators like 5 Up and Gumi who don't really kill but still manage to win. And then you have these players like Ifa who loves to kill but the win percentage doesn't quite reflect that. But yeah, these archetype, you know, charts I find really interesting. Oh, yes. And speaking of Dumdog, we all love Dumdog for his hard work in organizing these lobbies and filling in the big shoes Hafu has left. He's done so very consistently with a 100% attendance rate, playing every single game up until the end of June this year. Thank you so much for keeping the morning lobby going strong. Thus, if you're wondering why Dumdog unexpectedly left his hosting duties after the first game in the past week's lobby, it's because his beautiful dog Artie was sick and later passed away. Sorry for your loss, Apollo, and may she rest in peace. Also, once again, we'd like to acknowledge and thank all the community members who helped with collecting the stats and the slides. The GOAT Lisa for setting up everything in the Google spreadsheet we collect our data in, as well as Volfix, Luco Crinim, Loveday Punk, Porroberry, Rhino, and Dumpstead. Couldn't do any of this without all your hard work. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a sincere thank you to all these people, as well as leave a comment on what your biggest takeaways from these stats are. Anything jump out at you, surprise you? Is your favorite streamer doing better or worse than you thought? Love to read every single one of your comments. And otherwise, have a great day and all the best. We'll catch up soon.